Doctor Who and the Appointment with Destiny. Doctor Who wound his scarf around his neck and plonked his hat on top of the mass of brown curls.
"Well?"
he boomed at his young companion.
"Are you coming, Sarah?"
"Where have you brought us this time?"
she queried hopefully. The TARDIS, that strange machine that whisked them through time and space, had a definite habit of taking them to weird and wonderful places, all of them of great interest to the young reporter, but many of them also held their own unique dangers. But Sarah remained cautiously optimistic about their travels together. The Doctor punched a button on the console, and the TARDIS scanner opened on a close-up view of a twisted, screaming metal face.
"Looks ghastly,"
Sarah remarked. A quick adjustment of the controls zoomed the picture out, and the metal figure was revealed to merely be a statue, in a colourful and impressive gallery of alien art and sculpture.
"The Jayda Exhibition,"
Doctor Who stated.
"Some of the most beautiful examples of the art, culture and history of the planet Jaydo. Shall we have a quick look around?"
Before she could answer, he had opened the TARDIS doors and ducked outside. She watched him on the scanner as he waved and beckoned her to come and join him.
"All right, Doctor,"
she agreed.
"but then we really should be getting back to Unit HQ. Harry and the Brigadier will be worried about us."
The Jayda Exhibition was a delight. Every piece featured within was a feast for the eyes and senses. Doctor Who quickly adopted the role of tour guide and introduced Sarah to some of the key works of Jaydoan culture.
"There you see the portrait of King Budo. He was a magnificent fellow by all accounts. And over there, a statue of Tuka, the Jaydoan goddess of love."
"Doctor,"
she interrupted.
"And that wonderful oil painting depicts the Battle of Silver Valley, where I understand the forces of King Budo fought and won against the Sontarans. That was back in the space year 875, as I recall."
"Doctor,"
she tried again.
"Can't you see I'm trying to educate you,
he snapped irritably.
Have you no appreciation of art?"
Sarah folded her arms crossly.
"Perhaps you could educate me on that particular piece over there."
She pointed a finger towards a gold-framed portrait that had been given pride of place on an otherwise blank wall.
"I say!"
Doctor Who exclaimed as he danced over and cast his beady eyes on the subject.
"That fellow looks rather familiar."
The subject of the portrait was a curly-haired gentleman with a beaming smile. He was dressed in a long dark coat, accessorized by a long, multicoloured scarf.
"He's a sharp dresser, that one,"
the Doctor complimented.
"It's you!"
Sarah laughed. The Doctor examined the picture more closely.
"Do you know, I think you might be right,"
he admitted.
"Well, of course it is."
She shook her head. For such a clever scientist, Doctor Who could be remarkably obtuse at times.
"I must have made an impact on someone. I don't remember posing for a portrait, but of course it may not have happened yet, at least from my perspective."
Sarah moved closer to read aloud a small description card under the frame.
"This depicts Doctor Who, that strange wanderer in space and time, who very sadly—"
She trailed off quietly.
"Does that text contain something about the future I shouldn't know?"
the Doctor snapped.
"If so, I really think you should stop reading it right now."
Sarah turned to face him, all traces of humour wiped from her face.
"It's too late, Doctor. I've read the full description."
Doctor Who covered his ears.
"I'm not listening, Sarah."
But of course he could still hear her continue, her voice hollow.
"It commemorates the heroic Doctor Who died by laser blast after the Battle of Silver Valley in the space year 875.
"Well then, Sarah,"
the Doctor intoned jovially.
"Where shall we go next, eh?"
They were back inside TARDIS, the heavy doors closed behind them. Sarah frowned.
"How can you be so calm after that? Wasn't that at all unsettling, knowing the circumstances of your own death?"
Doctor Who didn't appear to be listening.
"How about the paradise planet of Kempton 7? Or the Cascade of Tots?"
He punched in some new coordinates into the central control panel, and with its characteristic groaning and wheezing, the space-time machine took off for new climates.
Cascade of Tors it is then. You'll love it there, Sarah.
He beamed. Still shaken, she remained unconvinced. But if the doctor was putting on a brave face, she would too.
Okay, Doctor. Let's visit the Cascade of Tors, wherever that is.
The wheezing and groaning came to a halt. TARDIS had landed. Doctor Who activated the scanner screen.
Here we are. The Cascade of... Oh.
Whatever he was expecting to see on the monitor was not the landscape that became visible on the flickering screen. Silver mountains, stretching upwards towards a pink sky. An alien world. Sarah felt she knew their location without even needing to ask the name of the planet.
That looks awfully like a Silver Valley out there.
Doctor Who looked up solemnly from the controls.
And I'm rather afraid that it's a space year 875.
The TARDIS, or fate itself, had brought Doctor Who to the scene of his own extinction.
This won't do at all,
he grumbled, resetting the controls.
Let's move on, shall we? If the Cascade of Tors is off the menu, how about the paradise planet of Kempton 7? Sound good, Sarah? Good. Let's go there.
She watched him sadly as he piloted the TARDIS away from the Valley of Silver, only for them to inevitably materialize back there again a few moments later.
Inescapable,
the Doctor mumbled, scratching his head. He met Sarah's worried gaze. They both knew what this meant.
Don't be sad, Sarah. Death comes to us all eventually. Still, I would rather have liked another 700 years or so just to get my affairs in order.
Can't we try to get away again? Just try one more time.
Doctor Who shook his mighty head.
The TARDIS won't allow it, I'm afraid. Now that we know my fate, it won't allow us to avoid it. I shall just have to face up to it, I suppose.
No,
Sarah wailed.
There must be something we can do.
The Doctor was adamant.
I'm afraid not.
He gathered some items and stuffed them in his coat pocket before putting his hat back on. He pointed at the monitor screen.
Look! There's old King Budo now, leading his forces through the valley after the battle. This must be where I come to his aid.
And come to your end.
Sarah could hardly believe it. Another fear struck her.
But if we go out there and you die heroically, what happens to me? How will I ever get home?
You'll stay here, Sarah,
Doctor Who said quickly.
If I don't return, the TARDIS will look after you. It is, after all, pre-programmed to return you back to Unit HQ in the event of my absence.
Is this it then?
She hugged him.
Is this goodbye, Doctor?
I prefer to say au revoir, Sarah.
He grinned reassuringly before turning his back to her to walk outside and towards his fate. Hidden in a perilously high alcove on one of the Silver Mountains was the squat armoured figure of a Sontaran assassin. His name was Snarg, and he wielded a vicious-looking sniper rifle. The latest battle had not gone well for the Sontarans. The Jaydoans were skilled opponents, not that their enemies would admit to it. Snarg licked his dry lips with keen anticipation of a kill, as he watched with mountain pleasure as King Budo and his men, marching through the valley below, began to enter his line of fire. They were laughing and joking at their latest victory against his species. He would put an end to their mockery. His stubby finger curled around the trigger, and he drooled in excitement at the thought of dispatching this sworn enemy of his people. Below them, Doctor Who and King Budo met and shook hands, to the discomfort of the king's guards, who were highly suspicious of the traveller. But Budo sensed a friend in the doctor almost immediately.
"Hello there,"
the doctor had said cheerily.
"You're King Budo, aren't you? I'm known as Doctor Who. I've come here to do something wonderfully heroic, something suitably dashing for you to commission a portrait of me to honour my brilliance for all perpetuity."
Budo gazed at the stranger in puzzlement.
"Why, my friend?"
he intoned.
"Aren't you an odd fellow?"
Doctor Who's sharp eyes caught a glimpse of reflected sunlight coming from the mountain towering above them. With horror, he realized he had spotted a sniper's rifle. Reacting even faster than the king's guards, he leapt forward and pushed Budo clear of the laser bolt that spat down towards them. It singed the ground harmlessly, a few feet from the king. To their credit, the guards immediately took on defensive positions around their king, but while this protected their great leader, it left the doctor exposed as a target. High above, Snarg the Sontaran cursed in his alien language at the misfortune of missing his primary target. Still, he consoled himself. There was still some satisfaction and honour in taking revenge against this strangely dressed being who had pushed King Budo out of the line of fire. He re-aimed his laser rifle, this time at the ill-fated Doctor Who. The laser bolt struck the Time Lord in the chest, and energy rippled through his whole body. Backing the safety of TARDIS, Sarah, watching events on the scanner screen, gasped as she saw her friend the Doctor disappear into a blaze of light. One of the King's guards took out the sniper with a carefully aimed shot, and after checking the Sontaran was finished, the men gathered around the space where Doctor Who had once lived and breathed. Sarah couldn't hear what the grateful King Budo was saying, but she could easily guess. "We will remember him." Sarah sniffed back a tear.
"So that's it then,"
she muttered quietly to herself, flicking the scanner off. The TARDIS suddenly seemed very empty and lonely.
"It's all over."
"Not quite."
A familiar voice boomed behind her.
"Hello, Sarah."
"Doctor!
She embraced him.
You rotter! I thought you were dead."
He made a show of checking his pulse to make sure.
"Me? No. I expect you're wondering how I did that, aren't you? Well, I happened to take an old transmat brooch with me, coordinates primed and ready. All it needed was a burst of energy to activate and return me here to the TARDIS. Simple, really."
Sarah marvelled at him, before recovering some of her trademark cynicism.
"So you cheated fate instead of avoiding it? You must think you're dead clever, don't you?"
"Better than just being dead, eh?"
Doctor Who chuckled.
"Shall we go somewhere else? There are so many other times and places to explore."